Welcome to the Self-Care Show with Deidre Sanford. Although holistic and alternative healing methods are becoming more and more mainstream, what method is right for you? How do you find a practitioner once you've chosen to explore an alternative therapy? Each week, Deidre will explore a different modality with practitioners who will explain their modality and the benefits they and their clients have received through their sessions. She and her guests may also offer live readings during the show. Now, your host of the Self-Care Show, Deidre Sanford.
Morning, one and all. Happy Wednesday. It's Deidre on the Self-Care Show on WLTK-DB Talk Radio. Todd has already joined the show this morning. Good morning, Todd.
Good morning. How are you doing, Deidre?
I am well, thank you. How are you this morning?
I'm good. It's already Wednesday. Holy cow, this week is flying by.
It's nuts, man. Hey, Keith, thanks for popping in to join us this morning.
Hey, Keith.
It's nice to see you. I know we got a couple other people lurking out there for us too. Jump in, say hello. Let us know what's going on in your worlds. Our worlds. Hey, Tim, there you are.
Tim.
Our worlds have shifted a little bit, Todd, especially over the last few months. I don't know if it was April or May that Peter first joined the show to talk with us about his pendants.
Mm-hmm.
But since then, quite a bit has transpired for, I know, the two of us, and probably Peter too. I think he's got some things on the back burner that are coming up for him that we want to get into a little bit this morning as well. I'm not even sure really where to begin other than, my standard, guys, what in the heck is going on? 6 planets in retrograde. Most often I hear 6. Every once in a while I hear there's a 7th one out there. Introspection, right? Those retrogrades take us back to do some internal review. Not really the time to run forward into a whole lot of new stuff, but a great time to sit back and review some things, where you've been, where you are now. I know I've been doing a lot of that. And where do you want to go from here? Getting ready to jump and dive into new things. Todd and I have probably both tumbled into some new things and stepped out of some old things over the last few months. And I can assure you that a bunch of what I've shifted, what I work with differently, what I view differently, I can attribute to working with one of Peter's amazing pendants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. They're like light switches.
The energy is amazing, Keith. And yes, absolutely like a light switch. There have been a lot of modalities and meditations and so forth that I know I've toyed with. Todd, I know you've toyed with a few. I don't think anything has ever quite flipped a switch just the way these pendants have in my world.
No,
it's amazing.
I couldn't agree more. It's just the shift that you feel when you put it on.
Mm-hmm.
And like Sherry and I go back and forth with it, and she uses it too and loves it. It's very calming for her. But when you put it on, it's almost like it just instantly becomes a part of you.
Mm-hmm.
And you can feel it. You can feel your body shifting. You can feel things changing. You can, and I thought, okay, this is my skepticism talking. This is just all in here. No, the way it's put together, the way it's engineered, it does that. And as well as I do, I sit behind this desk for hours, and my back used to be all crickety. The copper, it takes my body and changes it in a good way. And I can't, it makes you more calm. This particular one that I have, the Archangel Michael, it's calming, it's soothing. If I have any junk coming my way. It protects, it deflects it, and it's just I can't say enough about it, and I can't wait, every week for my
Mhm.
3 days.
I do. Does it get a day of rest if you each wear it for 3 days? Is there a day that is just kind of
There,
recharging itself?
now I did charge it. We did charge it under the blue supermoon,
Mhm.
so it did have some rest. It was and we had some rest, and that way you can tell the differences
Yeah. Yeah,
from
oh, yeah.
wearing it and not wearing it. You know.
I'll spend time during a day at the store where I work, and I think, man, why am I so aggravated today? Why does this day feel so heavy? And it feels like I've already been here 5 hours, and I've only been here 2. And then I'll be like, oh, because I didn't put Shemuel back on this morning.
Yeah,
Ah,
and it
I think
does. It
we've.
lets you know.
Sorry, go ahead.
It lets you know.
Oh yeah, it does. It does. We have some great conversations, my pendant and I, by the way. I think we should probably bring Peter out. He's sitting there backstage all by his lonesome. Let's get him involved in this conversation.
Yeah. Good morning,
Hey,
Peter.
Good morning. How are you this morning?
we're
Wonderful.
well. What's going on in your world?
I'd say last couple of months we've been traveling a lot this year. Over the last couple of months, I have been in production mode to build up inventory for what's coming next week.
Yeah.
We're traveling with the Stargate Experience group, and we're doing a tour in Egypt where Vivian is actually a contributor. And we're going to be speaking at all kinds of different sites in Egypt. I mean, we're going to be doing the Sphinx, we're going to be doing the Step Pyramid, Valley of Kings, Abydos, Luxor, Karnak, Temple of Horus, Temple of Isis, the Great Pyramid. We're going to be in the Great Pyramid
I was
for
just going to
hours.
say, I thought I put these on there as well.
Yeah, because Vivian and Brigitte and Jules are the main, the main speakers
Mhm.
for this trip. They're going to be in the actual. There's going to be 2 hour time frame for each, just two separate groups. So we're going to be in there for 4 hours
Oh,
in
wow.
the King's Chamber.
Whoa.
So
Unreal.
it's going to be impressive. Yeah.
What kind of, I don't know. What do you expect from that time? I wouldn't even know where to begin to set any kind of an expectation or not try to what I would want to attract or maybe not look into while I'm spending time in that space.
What I'm looking for is actually some of the videos and other people's analysis of the King's Chamber and the, what do you want to call it? Different possibilities for what the Great Pyramid is.
Hmm.
One of them that really kind of sparked my interest was not necessarily an ascension chamber, but more of like a priest class initiation, laying down in the sarcophagus in the king's chamber. The resonance, if you were doing like just lying there and just doing an ohm, the resonance inside that chamber is quite intense from what they were explaining. So I'm looking forward to trying that.
I'll bet. Now, do you try that with or without a pendant?
Oh,
Or both?
I'm bringing one with me.
Very
Oh yeah.
sensing. Well, I'm sure there are pendants with you wherever you travel. But I was thinking,
Oh yes.
in that space, would you want the shielding or would you want to be open to whatever experience? How would that work?
Well, that's pretty much anything that's of a positive nature makes it through.
Yeah.
Anything of a negative nature is blocked. So it's one of those things that reinforces who you are and will not allow anything else in that's not. So that's what I'll be utilizing the tools while we're in Egypt for sure.
Oh, I can't even imagine. That is so awesome. I love it. We did pop up the link for the experience that you're talking of.
Yep.
And that information I pulled off of your website, energiesofservice.com. And I'm going to pop that in the chat for all of our participants as well this morning.
Yes.
My heavens.
And then from there, yeah, it's going to be a busy month. We're going to be gone for a month.
Well, I'm lucky we got you on the show before you took off. Hey, Jamie.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a couple-day layover, about 5 days in between the Egypt trip, and then we fly over to Greece. And then we're going to be in Kos, Greece, and their event starts on the 8th, and it goes to the 13th, and that's going to be live streamed, which you actually post up there. And Vivian is also a speaker. She's got a workshop going on there, and that's where I'm going to be. And from what I understand, there's about 1,000 people showing up.
Wow.
And yeah, I'm going to be bringing as many tools as I possibly can fit in the suitcase. So
And get through customs.
yeah, no customs shouldn't be too bad.
Customs.
Yeah, I always thought customs would be a much bigger nightmare than it has been for me in my travels, but then I haven't done anything quite on the same scale.
Yeah. And for coming back into the U.S., we jumped through the hoops, and went through the global entry program that the U.S. has to make it through customs rather quickly. Instead of waiting in line, you just if you do the global entry side, you just walk around that line and just check in at a kiosk, and you're done.
Like the celebrity that you could be or are. Depends on whose mind you're
It
using.
makes it so easy. It makes it really easy, and it just removes a lot of the silliness. It doesn't work outside of the U.S., but it works when you're coming back into the U.S. at least.
That's awesome. Very cool. So it's been a while since you've been on our show. I know that you joined Christina on her show, Be the Change, recently, and I have a feeling that both Keith and Jamie Lynn were in that viewing. And I know Jamie Lynn was with us the last time you were with us, but give us like the thumbnail version. I want to make sure that we have time for you to talk about the pendants again. And of course, as promised, Todd and I are both going to chat with you about our experiences with our pendants.
Absolutely. Well, there's not a lot that has changed right now. I've been really focusing on, because of what we're going through and what we're going to be doing for, this coming up for a whole month. We're going into Egypt, where there are other negative energies there.
Sure.
So we're going to be bringing some tools to Egypt so that people can, if they want them, they can get them there. And then when we go to Greece, we get them so we have them so that people can get them there.
Yeah.
So I've been working nonstop to get some pendants and anklets ready for the trips. So for the last couple of months, it's been busy, and of course, making sure that every aspect of the trip is checked and rechecked and planned, and make sure, do we have a cab from the hotel, from the airport to the hotel? Do we have one to get back? It's like all those little details. And I've been working through all those things and making sure everything's ready. But Vivi and I have been so busy, and we're actually looking forward to just getting on a plane where we can't do anything for hours.
Right. It's funny,
Just to rest.
Sometimes that's what it takes.
So this is what, right now we're just been so busy. We're looking forward to just being on a plane where we can't do anything.
Yeah. So cool. So remind us about the pendants in general.
The pendants in general. Yeah. Okay. So the original tool was the anklet. And that came in from Metatron, and that was to shield. And it creates it modifies your energy torus, your field that your body generates, and creates a shield out of that by utilizing and shifting your own frequencies and your own energy. Through, what do you want to call it, trial and error and people's analysis, and like the woman I talked about before, she couldn't wear the anklets because her husband was giving her too much flack for wearing an anklet because it's too woo-woo. I asked Metatron for a solution, and this is where the pendant base came from. And that's where we wear the pendants now, is they create a kind of a bubble shield at the layered energy field that our body creates. Not the torus level, just a layered energy field out. So that creates a shielding effect just on that base. So it's a more close to your body, almost a compression type, where it compresses your energy field down just a little bit to create a field, a protection. So all the pendants that we're creating now have that effect, with the exception of the chill pill, which is just calming. So the Metatron is like putting on armor. Michael has a couple extra crystals in there, which gives you the calming, clearing, and healing effect on top of the shielding. And the Shamuel, it has 10 other crystals in it made for stress, trauma, and all the other stuff to help release that. And I've had some amazing testimonials on the Shamuel lately. It was, yeah.
Yeah, you can add to that too right in the show.
I've never had such an articulated response to this, where this woman has had so much trauma in her life, all the way from childhood up. You know, and without getting into detail, she was having nightmares and just she was triggered all day long by different things. And as soon as she started wearing, and she got the armor set, so she was wearing the anklets and the Shamuel.
Nice.
And when she started wearing them, she's like, I no longer get triggered while I'm walking around. I no longer have my nightmares. I have been at peace, ever since she got the tools and started utilizing them as soon as her body and her energy field got used to wearing them.
It's so
So
amazing.
it is absolutely amazing. It gives me, it just gives me goosebumps when I'm thinking about what she was saying. It was very, very impactful for me. It's just like I'm a conduit for what what the archangels want. So it's gratifying to see the outcome because I get an idea what they do, and then we get more feedback as people experience them.
Sure.
And then it's like, oh, it does that too. That's cool. I didn't know that. Thank you.
Right.
Well, the archangels just have fun. It's like, okay, here, make this. And it's like, you figure it out. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. And
How did you decide? Because I know we asked for your input on our individual pendants. How did you decide?
I usually go by my intuition's pretty decent. I usually ask a couple questions. It's like depending on what kind of stress and trauma you're normally dealing with. If you're overly sensitive to the energies around you, it can be just as simple as putting on the heaviest armor you can, which would be a Metatron, right? That would be your armor. Just put it on, and then you just feel whole, and then you're letting yourself, your higher self, do everything else. It's not, you don't necessarily need the support from the other crystals. If you tend to be triggered a lot while you're in an energetic form, so you need shielding on top of a little bit of that other energy clearing, that's the Michael. Now, if you've had a lot of stress, and I mean now a lot of stress, everybody has stress, but a lot of stress, to a point of having trauma or some major experiences in your life where it just feels like you're overwhelmed. And the questions, I usually get is, I ask for that is pretty definitive by just the tones when we talk. You can hear it in the voice, you can feel it in the energy. And that would be the Shamuel. And then when you put the Shamuel on, it's just like putting on a warm blanket, and you just feel comfortable, and you just feel like if you needed to, you could just let loose, let it go. And that's what the Shamuel kind of does. So it's one of the ways of doing that. So understanding that, and then of course with the multidimensional, with opening up and doing more, we have to get out of our way first.
Yeah.
When we're dealing with stress and trauma, you're not going to be able to expand your higher consciousness while you're still stuck in the fear, or the fear of having a trigger or a stress, or stressor from trauma or any of those things. It makes it very difficult. And the multidimensional isn't normally an all-day wear kind of a pendant. It's more for when you're in your quiet time, your space, your meditations and stuff like that. So if you want something every day, it's like Metatron, Michael, or Shamuel.
Yep. Talk to us a little bit more about the multidimensional. Is that rather new in your inventory since we last spoke?
The multidimensional has been around by about a year and a half now.
Okay.
So it's a little older than Shamuel. And it is extremely powerful. One of the first events we did with it was, I think it was the LA Conscious Life Expo. And we ended up meeting up with Daniken Brinkley. Or Danny and Brinkley. who's actually had near-death experience like 4 or 5 times or something like that, gotten hit by lightning a bunch of times. So he's actually, yeah, he's gone back and forth across the line a few times. And he put the pendant on, and we're standing in the middle of this large area, people everywhere. And he just looks and he's like, oh, that's interesting. And you just stand there looking at him, and you can see he's seeing something that you and I can't see.
Yeah.
And he's looking around, and he looks at his feet, and he looks over to the side a little bit each way, and he's just like, I like this. Because he's looking side to side, and he goes, I can literally see the dimensional barriers.
Wow.
For him, because he's been across that barrier a couple times, and his sensitivity now, he could actually see the barriers. He could see the layers of energy coming off us. So it's just a matter of allowing your frequency to raise. I mean, from how I understood that is like you raise your vibration enough, and one layer will just like dissolve, so you can actually see the next layer. It's really kind of interesting.
It's like getting far enough outside your current vibration.
Yeah.
You raise up enough that, you can't see what you left behind. You can only see where you are. So cool.
And then the second event that we had out was actually in Mount Shasta. And we had a young lady playing with it, and we were actually, she had one on, and she was like, oh, this is really cool. And I'm like, and all of a sudden my guides are like, here, try this. I'm like, okay. So I grabbed another multidimensional, and she's wearing one right on the front of her chest where the heart chakra is, and I put one on the back side of her chakra right there. So she had 2 pendants back to back like this, going straight through her heart chakra. And she literally went like, poof, she's like, did a little head bob and came back out. And she goes, okay. And next thing she started describing was it's either a parallel lifetime, past lifetime, future life. She was in another lifetime where she was an amphibian form with like waterproof fur. And she was looking at her, you could see her. She was looking at her arm like this. And it's like, you could see a regular arm right there, but she was seeing it as that being she was.
Wow.
And waterproof, since she was an amphibian. She was on a beach, and I don't know if it was anything other. It just, she didn't describe what climate it was, whether it was like Hawaii or like Maine or anything like that. She just said it was on a beach. And then she was explaining that she could see her village. It was on the side of a cliff up ahead. And being amphibian, they can be air or water. So it was actually really interesting on how she was describing it. And she went into all the details of everything. And then this went on for about 10 minutes. And then we took that off. She's like, oh, that was so cool.
My goodness.
So kind of journeying with pendants.
Yeah. And what we find is that pendant, actually all the pendants is what we found out, is that they allow you to go further than you are right now. But it's just like giving you a little bit of a leg up on your progress, helping you progression. The multidimensional will do the same on like your abilities and stuff like that. If you're meditating and you want to go just a little bit further, it allows you to go so you're just a little bit further than you are, so that actually it's like a little taste, so that you can get used to that, and then you can go a little bit further. So it's not going to stay stagnant. It's going to grow with you.
Samuel and I've had that conversation a couple of times, and that's literally what I call my pendant when I talk with it in the mornings, or after I haven't worn it for a day or so. Then we'll reconvene. We have the meeting. We have the agreement. Clear, cleanse, return to initial intentions. Bring it up. Ask it to come back down to me, and then remind it to give me some room to continue to expand and grow in a safe way that's appropriate for me. And I don't know, Todd, are you guys doing that when you exchange back and forth, so asking it to reattune to each of you as you hear it?
Oh, sure. Yeah, it's like well, like you said, it's like putting on a shield or armor, and that's kind of what we do, is reset it. I do anyway. I know she does. She talks to it more than I do. I do it more in here.
Yeah.
And it does. It just seems to, when you put it on, you can feel that protection. You can feel that shift. You can feel a change, and it's hard to explain. You know, you'd have to wear it for sure to understand, but it's just kind of electrifies and charges.
Yeah.
I love the thing. So does she. I mean, there's different, and I was thinking, okay, it's the copper. Okay, it's the crystals inside. Okay, and because you have all these different products out there on the market, the copper socks, this and that, and this and that, and you know, you try them all, and I know she has some ailments, I have some ailments, and it's completely wiped those out. Like I mentioned, my back pain, sitting in this chair all day, um, while wearing it, it just kind of brings me back down to earth, if that makes any sense. Because on my off days, I'm floating around, and I can tell something's missing, something's not placed, something is not helping me. So I when it's gone, I can sense it being gone.
Yeah.
And I can feel it when it's gone, and when it's close, you know, and I'm trying to learn how to better communicate with the pendant and myself while wearing it to get the peak benefits from it. But it's so damn powerful, Peter. You have to really
It is.
gauge it and get used to it. Because I don't know how else to explain it, but when you first put it on and you clip that, it's bam.
Bam.
It's just like a shock to the system, but not an overpowering shock. And then when I need it to calm down, I'll ask it to calm down. And when I need it to go up, just like Deidre said, you just level up. There's so many things you can do with it, and it works with you so well. It's melted to my system.
Yeah. It's amazing. Hey, Bill, good morning. Thanks for coming in to see us all this morning. Love you too. Hope you're feeling good today. Hey, Lee, thanks for coming in to see us as well. It's so much fun to have you guys popping in to visit with us, to hear what Peter has to say about these pieces. And thank you for joining us to share in our journeys with these pendants as well. I love, Todd, that you have to know, Peter, Todd has often been heard to say, well, I'm as sensitive as a brick. So and I know better than that, Todd, I do. Yeah. But even for those of us who are not used to being aware of their energies or aware of energy shifts within themselves, it's just, there's no escaping it. You may not be able to define it or quantify it as an energy shift or the way it works with my energy, but you know that subtle change has taken place. Thank you, Peter, for answering that question. Lee, Peter has answered the question for you. He said there is something available, and he's invited you to contact him. Is it okay if I just pop the email here in the chat?
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you. And there's the email. Thank you.
And I wanted to show this, if I could, up close, so everybody could see it. How gorgeous it is as well. And you can just sense, probably just by looking at this, the power of it. You can just sense it. You can feel it. It's so open. And that's it. I'm putting it back on.
We could always go through that. We can go through this again if you want to try that.
That's amazing, Peter. Sure. I think Keith actually, since he's already talking about chakras and crystals, etc., I think, Keith, if you haven't seen this already, you might really enjoy this. Hey, Karen, how are you this morning? All yours.
Okay. All right. So this is the Shamuel. This is the stress and trauma pendant. So what everybody should do is basically visualize this as you're wearing it, like it's hanging right down on your heart chakra. Okay, leave it right there. You can feel it. It's like an ounce. It's like 2 ounces. So it's a little bit. You can feel a little bit of weight just hanging on your chest. Visualize it sitting there. Now connect to it. Mentally, just connect to it. Now ask it to reset. You don't have to say it, but if you want to, you're more than welcome to say it out loud. Just reset. The next piece is tell it to go to full power and just feel the energy of the pendant. If it's too much, ask it to go to your comfort level and it will calm down and go to your comfort level. But by going to full power, it's going to show you what it's capable of doing in the moment that you are capable of handling. You're just not ready for its full power just yet. So when you're in that mode, you can ask the pendant to do anything your intentions can manifest with. So let's say this is a Shamuel, so this can help remove stress and traumas, or remove the emotional impact of an event that happened in your life. Or you can actually just tell it to, okay, I want to remove any emotional baggage or trauma that was in a past life that is impacting me now, that is no longer serving me. So we bring memories and other things in from past life, but do we need to carry it with us, especially the energy of the traumas? So by asking the pendant to help clear that, it will. And it'll no longer be a trigger point or give you a little bit of a roller coaster ride on energy. And you can if you want, take a screen capture of this picture, or you can go on the website and look at this picture on the website and just do the same exercise anytime you want. And through intention, you can just hold on to it. And then when you're done, it'll be released. So that's the Shamuel.
Yes.
We'll do if you want, we could do a multi-dimensional in a little bit. Let everybody have fun with Shamuel.
That's interesting. You guys shout us out. Let us know if you want to give that one a moment or two of your attention and energy and see what that one's like. Hopefully you've all enjoyed your time with Shamuel this morning. I know it's near and dear to my heart, quite literally, because I wear mine almost every day. But I think, hey, Todd, what do you think? You want to grab a break here super quick?
Sure.
Just to let everybody kind of reset and come back fresh from this amazing experience that Peter has provided for all of us. What do you think? Peter, you in for a quick break?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Are you going to hit it, Todd, or am I?
Yep. Ready when you are.
All right. I'm ready when you are.
Okay.
Thanks,
we'll be
guys.
right back.
See you in a minute.
If you're a fan of the paranormal world, then you'll love WLTK-DB Talk Radio. Talk shows bringing you the latest on everything paranormal, cryptozoological, metaphysical, true crime, psychic readings, and more. The truth is here and now on WLTK-DB Talk Radio at WLTK-DB.com.
And welcome back. You are watching the Self-Care Show on WLTK-DB Talk Radio. I am your host, Deidre. My super special, amazing guest today is Peter Benson, and my co-host for the show today is none other than station owner and producer and show host, the extraordinary Todd Bates. Guys, if you're just joining us this morning, Peter is visiting with us, chatting with us about his amazing pendant, and he has also provided us with the opportunity to work with a pendant or two during the show today. Todd and I are also going to be sharing our stories with our pendants. we just finished spending some time with Peter's cueing, Peter's assistants, working with the Shemuel pendant. And Keith did see you, Peter, on Christina's show. So he's been, I don't know, he's had access to the pendant. He's also been to your website, he says. That's awesome. Oh, sorry, Lee saw you on Christina's show and has been to your website. Did we lose your vocals, or are you trying not to interrupt? I think we lost you.
Okay.
There we
we
go.
go.
No, you're good.
Back. Hey, Sherry. Sherry, or Peter Todd's wife, Sherry, just popped in, and she's thanking you for the pendant that the two of them share.
Oh, very good. Yep. Perfect.
That's awesome.
That's sweet. Hi, honey.
So we've talked a
Yes.
little bit about me on shows from time to time. We talked a little bit about me with our last show, Peter, and I had an interesting life. Very few of us healers get to doing any kind of healing work without going through our own trials and tribulations, right? So having done that work, I've been able to, I'm not going to say not ever be triggered, because I wouldn't be human if that were the case, but to be less and less triggered by a variety of different things. And only recently, like just within the last couple of days, by grand design, of course, I had a conversation with another team member at my workplace. She is in fact a department manager, and I don't multitask well anymore. Brain injury, etc. Just, it's not within my realm of daily activities, not very gracefully and not very long. So asked to do 3 different things while working with me. And as I was working on the first thing, continued to talk about the second thing. And I just stayed focused on the first task so I wouldn't mess it up. And when I finished the first task, I said, hey, I'm really sorry. I know you were speaking to me about the next thing that you wanted. I didn't catch everything that you said. I apologize. My multitasking isn't really that great because of a brain injury. Could you repeat what you were asking? And she said, oh, I don't think that's true. I think it's something else. And I was a little stunned, but I didn't say anything. And I stayed centered, and I stayed engaged, and I stayed in my role. And we went through the rest of the transactions and got everything done. And I finally was able to say in a pretty even tone of voice to this individual, I said, that was really hard. I just chose to be vulnerable and share with you an invisible medical condition that I have. And you essentially called me a liar. And my point isn't the way some people can treat other people. My point is, I had done a tremendous amount of work, and I can't say with certainty that were it not for my experience with my Shemuel pendant, that I wouldn't have been a little less than professional in my response during that conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, I think most human beings would kind of automatically be like, did you just call me a liar? It wasn't even in me at that point. So grace, not just for ourselves, but to be able to extend that grace to other people, even when we're in a moment of potential trigger, slight trigger, major trigger, to just roll with it and stay in the flow. And it's odd that I chose to share that story. It wasn't top of mind to discuss today, but I think it paints a beautiful portrait of the kind of self-work that the Shemuel pendant can help us to do. No matter how far we are on our path in healing, there's always a little further to go. New things happen. It's part of life. So it's kind of fun in retrospect. And, I came home, we talked about it. Another coworker was involved, talked to my manager. My manager called me in, wanted to hear the whole story. Who knows where it's going to go? Talking about it at home that night, I was still a little bit angry about what had happened. It was a calm conversation. But the next morning, more true to who I am, and certainly more representative of the work that pendant helps us all with, I was able to say to my husband, I don't think it matters where corporate decides to take this and what happens in the business world with this. My fondest wish for her is that she find the opportunity for her own healing so that she doesn't have to run around the world treating other people like that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I've been actually, while I've been working, I've been preparing for this big trip. I've
Mhm.
been listening to the Edgar Casey books in audiobook form. And what you're talking about is actually it's very familiar, fresh in my mind from
Yeah,
listening to those books. And basically what he was saying is it's like when you're talking with somebody and somebody triggers you, it's your insecurity. It's something that you are having a problem with. So the
right,
person you're talking about is lying.
right.
So he or she, whoever that is actually feeling that particular thing, and they're expressing it. And you holding back is basically stepping back and being an observer of your emotions and your situation. So the more we can just be an observer and not responding, it's the higher the vibration we are. It's becoming more close to being one, and that's basically what you were doing, and you were doing it really well. So that's amazing.
Well, thanks. I'm not going to deny, of course, there's no denying that the pendant is an
Yeah.
amazing teacher and it's an amazing support
Mhm.
and a fantastic adjunct to the healing journeys that we're all individually on, whether we're conscious of it or not. It's the work that takes place when I'm working with my clients, right? I mean, I work with people to heal trauma, to let go of trauma, to find the new perspective, to find the lesson, move forward, see the truth. So, what a beautiful piece. It's just an amazing companion. Um, yeah, sometimes it is hard, Keith, but absolutely, if we don't choose to send love, to send healing, or to send something positive in those moments or very shortly thereafter, then we're kind of running around sending back the same energy, aren't we? And that's not who we want to be.
Yeah.
Super cool.
Um, and you're right. And we have to work on ourselves regardless of everything
Yeah.
that's going on. Um, what you're explaining and what you're discussing is the Shamuel helps to take the edge off of your response,
Mhm.
almost allowing you to step back a little bit and understand what you're about to say instead of being in the conscious or I should say
Yeah.
unconscious instant response. Oh my God, you offended me. I'm going to go back on it. I'm going to go on attack. Instead
Yeah.
of just being an observer of your emotions and understanding why all of a sudden am I filled with this anger, or why am I all of a sudden filled with why did you attack me? It's that you step back for a minute and go, oh, okay, and this is where the Shamuel really kicks in. Um,
Mhm.
the Metatron gives you that armor to be okay. You're coming out and being vulnerable, but the Metatron will be there as your armor to protect you from the emotional side of that attack.
Mhm.
You're gonna have to process it. Yes, it's part of the deal.
Oh, sure. And I think the bigger danger is when we don't process it, because then we're still carrying it.
True.
And
Yes.
we're adding more on top of what we're already carrying. Good morning, Sharon. We're adding more on top of what we're already carrying that makes it that much more difficult to dig
Yeah.
down, find the root of where did this come from, whether it be in this life or in a past life, and then adjust and move
Yeah.
forward from
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Repressing it is not going to be. It doesn't
Oh
help
gosh.
anybody.
No, 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 no. And
So
that's the other aspect. Yeah. So go ahead.
yeah, like you're saying, it's like if you repressed it, it would be a negative, and it's actually going to pile up, and then it'll
Yeah.
be resentment and anger that builds up and it'll explode. But what you're doing is actually being observant of it. And the next morning, you're like, it was totally released by that time. It
Yeah.
was really good.
It was so funny because for years and years, I've talked about my friend Thomas on the show before. He started out as my Jungian based astrological intuitive and became almost like a brother to me. And one of the things that he began teaching me years ago was to be the outside objective observer. And let me
Hmm.
tell you, no matter how observant you are, you're still human. And that's something that takes quite a long time to
It
work with
is.
and to be able to reach
Yeah.
for in your bag. Shemuel just so beautifully represents additional steps, no matter how far we come on our path of healing. Additional steps, additional protections, new perspectives. And the other thing that was a little bit shocking to me, I'm a psychic medium. I don't walk around open all of the time. It wouldn't be healthy. It wouldn't be an integrity and all of those things. But what I realized very shortly after I started wearing my pendant was on multiple occasions. Seriously, I am not walking around wide open to listen to what everybody's got going on. It wouldn't be good. There were different people who came at me in different ways, strangers or a very close friend of over 20 years. As they were speaking, whatever they were speaking, I couldn't hear them very well. I could hear them. I knew they were talking to me. But what I heard instead was what their higher self was truly expressing. And I thought, the first time it happened, I thought, okay, I slipped, right? I'm open, I'm digging, I'm looking for information. And then it happened again. And I thought, no, I really was not open. I really was not looking for the information to come in at the psychic level. This is the best way I could describe those events was like the movie Mel Gibson, What a Woman Wants.
Yep.
Classic.
Right? I mean, she's going, nah, and he's hearing, oh, but I want flowers. And you're like, what happened in those moments? That's pretty much what my world was like. Whatever vitriol, frustration, or whatever this person was venting and kind of aiming it at me, I could hear, no, this is really what's happening with this individual. And it not just outside objective observer, but truly hearing what this person was trying to express, but not knowing how to do it in a healthy way. It's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy.
And
yeah, we put up defenses. So
yeah. We all do. It's beyond a survival mechanism, right? I mean, we all develop survival mechanisms at times, but at this point in our society, I think it's just human nature.
Yeah.
My cat's agreeing. What were you going to say?
No, I was going to add and ask Peter, because I've noticed something as well, and I'm pretty sure Sherry has too. Anxiety level. I suffer from severe anxiety. I'm a shy introvert, really, to be honest with you, and this has helped me with that anxiety. There's a medication that I take for it. I'm not reaching for it. Is there a way that it's doing that with the anxiety? If so, how can I better control it? Because I want it to not abolish it. I know it's always going to be there. Everybody suffers some kind of anxiety a little bit, but it does get heavy at times. Is there anything I can do and Sherry can do to kind of take this down a level? Because we both suffer from the same ailments, which is pretty amazing, really. Is there anything we can do to help that, Peter?
Well, you have to understand that, and I'm pretty sure you do, but looking at it at a perspective as we are energy beings, just having a physical form. And what you're describing is you're probably oversaturated by everything in your environment, which puts you on edge. So by having the shielding that you're wearing, that diminishes that impact on you and your field, making you less agitated and less responding in a way that, that would be detrimental to you or anybody else. So it's one of those things, it's like understanding your energy and how you respond to being impacted by it. So, I mean, to really understand that, you just go out in the woods where there's nothing. Try to go someplace where even if you have your phone on, you have no bars, zero, and then turn the phone off. Now there's no EMF, there's no energies around you other than nature, trees, water, air, all the elements, and then feel and see how that feels for you. More than likely, you're going to feel the exact same type of energy and solace as you would when you're wearing the pendant. So that's basically showing you that you're just super energy sensitive. And I know you were saying it's like, oh, I have the energy sensitivity of a rock. No, that is the energy protection and the walls that you've created since birth. You came in super, and this is why I talk to a lot of people. And I talk to people a lot about this. It's like, I don't feel anything. It's like, no, you probably came in more sensitive than anybody you've ever known. But you had to build walls because your parents and everybody around you had no idea what was going on. And they weren't, they have never been taught. Right. So understanding energy is something that we're trying to understand now. So what you're learning now with the pendant is showing you how energy sensitive you are and teaching you how to manage it.
Oh, it's amazing. And it's so true. That is very true. There are some things I can't explain and feelings while wearing it. They're I don't know. I don't want to say I'm running around, you know, with rainbows coming out from behind me or anything, but it's a very soothing, calming effect that this pendant has. And I can tell when Sherry's wearing it and she can tell when I'm wearing it. And to reset like that, it's a little bit of a learning curve to learn how to
Uh-huh.
communicate. But once you get it, it responds. It just instantly responds, and it changes with you. It goes with your groove, and it doesn't overpower, if that
Right.
makes any sense. That's one thing I've noticed. It doesn't overpower. It balances perfectly.
It's funny that you said that, Todd, because one of the things that I was trying to work toward to say earlier is you still have all the feels, you still have all of the
Yes.
emotions. They're easier to acknowledge and to work with.
Yes.
The feelings to me
Absolutely.
become more pronounced, more tangible,
Hmm.
easier to grasp and notice while wearing it. And I've noticed while not wearing it that they're just kind of scrambled. It just kind of gets scrambled up. And it's so interesting how it works. It's really amazing.
It's like wearing months
Yeah.
worth of
No, they are
therapy.
cool.
Yeah.
It really is.
I mean, there's so
Absolutely.
much people go through. There's so much change and shift going on. Having something, a tool that can help with balance the body energetically with itself, you
Yeah.
know, and it's I can't put it into words how the feeling is. It would just you would just have to wear it. I mean, you would just have to experience it. Um, but it's a beautiful thing, Peter, what you've done. I can't thank you enough. And I speak for Sherry as well in saying that because you've really helped both of us. Really helped both of us.
No, Sherry popped in.
Oh,
She heard the explanations. She's
Hi,
been
Sherry.
on the whole time, which is really very cool. She doesn't always get to do
oh,
that. So she's thanking you, Peter, as well for your insight and your explanations.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, and what I think you're explaining, Todd, that this is actually a beautiful explanation too, is the more as I've explained and you've explained, it's like their intention. You can tell them what to do. The more in tune you become with yourself, the more precise your intentions become to the pendant, and the more powerful it becomes for you.
yes. Yes.
It's
I
entirely experiential.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's hard like I said, it's hard to put that experience into words for me because
Yeah.
they're all feelings and my feelings are radiated and more just a lot more pronounced while wearing it. And I've since wearing it, I've developed boundaries for myself. It's almost as if it's helping me plan what I'm supposed to do. Um, I'm not a doormat anymore. I have some boundaries. I have some things that I'm working on, some changes, some shifts, and I owe it to that for helping me align with myself. And it's really amazing how that works. It's pretty incredible. 'Cause
Absolutely.
yeah, I mean it's tough for me to align with anything, let alone myself. So it's helping in so many ways, Peter. Thank you.
Oh, very welcome. Yeah, it's been a journey trying to, for one, admitting being a mechanic and an engineering technician, it's all left brain work,
Right.
and allowing Archangel Metatron a message to come through, and I'm like going through Reiki. I'm having a hard time understanding energy healing altogether, right? I'm like, this stuff, I don't know. I'm trying it. Let's see if this works. And then getting a message from Archangel Metatron, and I'm like, really? And it's like, it was really difficult for me to accept and allow myself to feel and understand that aspect of energy and or that aspect entirely of dark angels. It's like,
Yeah.
yes, I've been around religions, and yes, I've understand Archangel Michael, and I always thought of those as just, I don't even know, just kind of metaphorical energy, things
Right.
or whatever it is, and
Yeah.
allowing myself to actually be connected to it and working through, having, I should say, working through, having them work through me, and it's just been an amazing journey of surrender of the ego, allowing the energy to flow through the messages, and just trusting the way, or just trusting the energy and the message that's supposed to come through for all these tools. And it's just been an amazing journey of surrender of the ego. It's like, I have no idea what it is, but okay, I'll and letting it go and doing mantras and allowing myself to just be while I'm building. And that allows the energy of the tool to come through without me getting in the way.
Yeah.
And then seeing how they come out. And as I've said in the past, it's like, they just basically give me these messages to create them, and then I have to go figure out what they do. Um, it's just like, okay.
There's faith right there.
So it's, and getting messages like what you're explaining, Todd, and how you're feeling with it. And it's heartfelt. You can tell by the way you're explaining it. It's exactly what the experience of the tool for you is profound. And the same thing for you, Deidre. It's the energies of the tools. And this is the message. It's so hard to bring out to people, to explain. It's just like, why would I put the investment in there for this tool? And it's far more than it's far more than just a single tool, and it grows with you. So the tool is a thing. Yes, it's not like you're going to go out and buy the latest toy, and it's not going to, no batteries required. You don't have to do anything like that. It's self-cleansing if you want it, if you allow it to be, and it will grow with you. So it's not going to expire. It's not going to go away. And it's rather interesting that these tools, being a message or a divine or etheric energy from the archangels for this time frame, for people to actually help them grow. Yeah. I just find it's very gratifying to hear the messages that you guys are explaining, and the impact that they've had on you.
Yeah.
It's tremendous.
Yeah.
Sherry popped back in and she said, on a humorous side, I love to wear it at night because I think of the song "This Little Light of Mine."
When it glows.
I was just say, you want to talk about that aspect of the pieces?
The glow? Oh, I
The
love the
glow. It's her favorite.
Oh yeah, yep. And the different pendants have a different glows. The Michael actually has 4 different colors. The 4 has blue, green, white, and purple.
Ooh.
The Shamuel has a white and blue, and I think the Metatron has, I'm not sure if it's either purple or blue and white, depending on how those are sanded out. But one of the fun things, it's like when you're wearing it at night and you walk by a mirror, you feel like I'm Iron Man because you can see the glow right on your chest.
Hang on.
I messaged Todd one
like,
night right after we got him, and I'm like, I was reading in bed, and I read propped up on my elbows, completely stretched out, and I went to turn the page, and I thought, oh my God, it's glowing.
It's glowing.
Yep. Absolutely.
I was so excited about the other aspect. I had forgotten about the glowing aspect.
Yeah,
it's
the
just
glowing
the power
is fun.
behind it.
Yeah. It's like everybody's experienced glow, things that glow, and you charge them up and they last a few seconds and they diminish and diminish. Now, these actually have the same glow, the glow powder that's in, all those things that they mix in with the plastics and the resins and all these other things. And you can get it at Michael's. You really can. It's just it's nothing crazy. It's just it's powders. And what's interesting is it shows you how powerful that tensor ring that's encasing those crystals is. Now, the tensor ring amplifies all the crystals too. So all that energy is actually rolling up and actually projecting through the glow powder. Now, the glow powder is being charged constantly. and it's not going to be super bright like if you go out in the sun and come back in, but at night when you're looking at it, it's bright enough. Believe me, it's almost too bright when you're looking at it, and like if it's pitch black in the room, you're looking down like, oh, that's bright. It is. And
Yep.
the more you're in the heart center, the brighter
It's
it gets.
really
So
neat.
it's really fun.
Well, we're getting pretty close to the time when we ought to be wrapping it up, but I wanted to make sure that we got an opportunity to share Lee's question. She said her goal, manifesting, is to become a traditional sealer herbal health advisor, and she wonders what pendant you might recommend that would help her on her journey.
That would depend. It depends on where she is on her journey, and the way she connects to be an advisor. If she's connecting to their higher selves and she is more advanced on the energy protection side and actually removal of her fears and stuff like that. If she's on the higher level, a multidimensional would actually give you a higher connection and being able to connect to you're from your higher self to their higher self. Basically, we are one, so you're connecting up and to the higher self, period. So it would be, if you're doing advisor work, that would be like a multidimensional.
Thank you.
Yeah, that would probably be the best side of that one. If not, it would be Archangel Michael, which would give the shielding effect, the calming of your energy, the clearing of your field, and then also the emotional, like emotional clearing and like resurrection energy of the green mica. That would give you a overall rounded energy field to do your connection.
Hope that helps, Lee.
Wow.
She's an amazing woman.
She is.
Yeah.
And she is.
Nothing short of amazing. She said she's thinking Michael. Nothing short of amazing having you join us on the show, Peter. It's always such a pleasure. I need to get you to share with us so much more from different times. We need to have you come back out and just catch us up. Keep us updated on what's happening. The website just went back up in our community chat. And it's energiesofservice.com. It's plural, so energiesofservice.com for our podcast listeners who aren't seeing the chat. Are there anything that we missed? Any parting thoughts you want to share with us today?
My thing is we were talking about it as the emotional energies, the experiential side of who we are. Right now, we are being pushed into a very focused attempt in a narrative to push fear on so many different levels.
Yep.
And I don't care what side of the aisle, I don't consider it a thing. They're pushing, and depending on your narrative, on which side you're looking at, you think of it as a positive or negative. It really doesn't matter at this point. But they're pushing narratives from war to another pandemic. I'm sorry, pandemic. And you have all of these different aspects coming through. You have financial collapse. You have all these different narratives of fear. And what they're trying to do is lasso you and your energy into a loop that doesn't allow you to progress. And I know one of the things that I've learned from these tools is that they help you keep your own vibration. So when you watch TV or hear somebody talking about it, or you watch on Twitter, the new X, whatever you want to call it, you're not impacted by those energies. You're not drawn down. You're not anchored into that negative agenda. It's false evidence appearing real. You got it. And that's the thing. It's like we have to stay in our power. And yes, I create these tools, and yes, I do sell them for this reason, but people need to actually start protecting their energy.
Yeah.
And stop falling into the fear and, I need to protect myself by getting food and water and do it. They're pushing your energy in a different direction. Go inwards, protect yourself. Even just go on the website, take do a screenshot with one of the pendants, and just through intention put the thing on. It doesn't matter. It helps you protect your energy field. You can put a screenshot on your phone, and you'll always have it with you. You need to be able to protect your energy from everything that's going on. And my thing is like, try to really be who you are, not what they want you to be.
Beautifully said. Yeah, I got nothing other than thank you. Thank you for sharing your
Thank you.
time. Thank you for sharing your tools. And, yeah, you've got a website out there. People can buy your pieces and wear them. But you're also offering freely the opportunity for people to visit the website to simply visualize and work with the pieces or take a snapshot so you have them at your disposal, which is amazing.
Yes, these are etheric tools, and the energy of them is outside of the physical realm, and you can call to them anytime you need them. Wearing one, it's always with you. You can always pull a picture in and do that when you need it the most. And then when you realize how much it impacts you, you may want to get one depending on how much
Right.
you're going through. And that's
Right.
it's just that. And most people may or may not need one every day. That's not that. So
We've had the opportunity before and after actually wearing and working with your pendants, Peter. And I think I can safely say that while the opportunity during the show is absolutely amazing and effective, wearing the pieces is very different.
yes, they're stronger.
Whole other level.
They're far stronger. Yeah.
Mhm. I
Absolutely.
couldn't agree more.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you so much for your early morning visit with us. We
Well,
wish
thank you
you
very much for having me.
safe travels, amazing experiences. Feel free to shoot us an email. Let us know how they go. It just sounds incredible and beyond belief for me, your Mount Shasta experiences and what's yet to come in Egypt and Greece both.
Absolutely. We will. We'll be posting videos and stuff like that, and we'll connect with you. Absolutely.
Safe
Absolutely.
travels. Absolutely.
Thanks, Peter. We'll see you
Absolutely.
back
Thank you.
in just a minute or two. Guys, this has been the Self-Care Show with our amazing guest, Peter Benson, my extraordinary co-host, Todd Bates. Thank each and every one of you for coming out to join us today and for participating in the chat. Lee and Keith, we had a couple new folks pop in today. It was such a pleasure to see you, Sharon, this morning. Sherry, I'm glad you had the time to join us throughout the show today. All of you, Lee, Tim, Karen, thank you so much for joining us. Without you guys, this show just simply doesn't happen. Please feel free to drop us a note. Let us know what other subjects you might want to see on the show. More than happy to try to help make that happen. Until next week, guys, everyone be safe, be happy, and take care of yourselves. We will catch you next week. This has been the Self-Care Show on WLTK-DB. Bye, everyone.
The truth is here and now on WLTK-DB Talk Radio at WLTK-DB.com.